All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prolong Lash YouTube channel. I'm Jodie.
And I'm Alicia.
And today we're going to talk something very close to my heart and building your business and making you bucks.
Yes. How are people going to thrive in business? How do you measure the success of your business? That's what we want to know about today.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get straight to it. We're going to keep it simple, but please know at the end of this, if you've got any more questions, you are welcome to contact Alicia or myself and to go further, to have a call or to get some help.
I think a lot of lash artists, they focus so much on the lashing, and of course they're jack of all trades and they're running businesses as well, and people are doing their best to make a business thrive. And often they're doing all the right things, but they aren't actually reflecting on it and looking back and seeing, are these things really working for my business? And maybe they're doing things that aren't actually benefiting it and they're just wasting their time. Or maybe there's really easy wins that they're missing out on. So you are a lash business expert. You know all about business stuff. And I think that you will have some great tips for people, like measuring. How do we work out what the things that we're doing, are they working?
It depends on the size of your salon and where you work from. So there'll be some things that really suit you today and some things that don't, but just everything is workable for what you do. But one thing, I'm very analytical. I'm a person that follows patterns, that watches trends with my own product. So not the product so much, but the actual money. So for sales wise, it's hard if you don't have a comparison from last year. Everything I do is compared on what happened last year or what happened last time, and then forecasting for the future. But some measurable things that are quite simple are monitor your daily sales. So number one thing, monitor your daily revenue that comes in. How many clients you have, how much money you take for the day, and start to write that down. If you're not doing that already, if you're not actually physically putting that somewhere apart from just your tax return at the end of the year because it's off your bank statement, monitor your daily, whatever goes on daily. How many people come into your salon, what sort of treatments you're doing, how much money you're taking, and then monitor that. And monitor that for a period of time. So
if you don't have a year previous, like even a short time is okay. Like look at your week and be like, is it really busy a certain day of the week? And then next week you can go back and be like, is this the same? Is it changing? Do you have a month's worth of data? Say at the start of the month it was quiet and it's getting less quiet. Like you can measure in smaller increments if you don't have the long-term data.
That's exactly right. But start today. Just whatever you're doing, start today. Start today. Anything that you think needs to be, that you're consistently going to be doing in the next week or next month, which is putting lashes on faces, selling product in your store, answering phone calls, busy periods, taking lunch breaks, all of that. If you've got staff, when they start, when they finish, start to monitor all that today. And then look over those, because they're your KPIs. They're actually your indicators of your business.
Yeah. So KPI is a key performance indicator.
Something that affects your cash flow, something that affects your revenue, your ability to be profitable is a KPI. So we probably won't use that word much more today, but that's that. So start with that. Anything you can put on a piece of paper and analyze is the start to a business. That's the first step in actually monitoring that. And once you've got the data, then you look at things like Alicia said. When are my busy days? What products are selling well for me? What's the most preferred lash look service that I'm offering? How much am I offering for that service? Am I offering enough for that service? If it's not a service that's very popular, is it something I shouldn't do anymore? Start to look at everything that you do in your salon once you've got these figures and analytics in front of you, and start to work out. One thing is to be very, very clear about here. If you're in an area where there's festivals, if you're in an area where there's going to be more foot traffic, you're in an area where there's Debs coming up, we call them Debs in Australia, but I think they're formals in proms. You really got to look at that as well. So if you haven't got figures to look at from last year and you're looking at your figures from this year, take note what's going on around you. Take note what events are happening in your area. Take note that if your last week was really, really busy on a Friday night, go back and have a look what was going on that Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you all of a sudden become so booked out and you needed more lash artists on? Don't just go and stick them on next Friday. Make sure that you're looking at the events in your area as well that may have affected that sale, may have affected that day being either really, really slow or really, really, really good.
So make the most of your historical data.
Yeah, basically. What about your interests? Let's talk about what you would like to talk to everyone about today.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you're going to spend money on marketing, you want to know that that money is actually doing something good for you. So that's my area of expertise in our business and something that I think is important. Marketing is never a set and forget. If you do decide to spend money in it, like say you're running meta ads, which would be an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad, if you're running a Google ad to try and bring people into your local area, make sure that you're measuring the return on investment for these things. So are you making enough money to make it worth running these ads? Or are you okay to not spend this money and just work off the organic growth? Don't forget that your ads are there. You're going to have bills just automatically coming out to pay for these advertising. And if your ads are working, review them, check them. Can they be refreshed? After a little while, say on Instagram, for example, your audience may have seen those ads before and they're starting to get repetitive and they're starting to get boring. If the ads start to drop in their performance, do you need to change something? Do you need to change the copy? Do you need to change the photography? Do you need to change both? Do you need to change the angle? Do you need to change the audience?
Do you need to change the product too?
Yep, possibly.
We've had some issues where products that we don't sell anymore. So, and then they go and someone will ring us and say, how come that's being advertised, or sales or promotions you've had.
Yep.
Make sure they're down as soon as it's finished.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to run a sale like a Black Friday sale, I know not a lot of salons do a Black Friday sale, but if you're doing a sale that you're doing a paid promotion on, or even organic promotion, if you're putting that on your Instagram page and saying 20% off for your first time or something, and then you're no longer running that, just delete the post, get rid of it, take it down, make sure that it's not something that someone can find and have an argument with you about.
Yeah, because there's nothing that reeks of unprofessionalism as getting that phone call. It's horrible. When a customer will call me and say something, and I'll just be like, that's our bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's our bad, whether it's minor or major.
And in that case, I mean, this is slightly off topic, but if you do have a complaint like that, I think like you need to honor that.
Honor it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But make sure you're measuring your marketing. Make sure that you are not wasting your money or your time.
How do you measure it?
So you'll look at your return on investment. So if you're running Google or Meta ads, you can use Google Analytics to check that. You can get also specialized programs for analytics that make it a bit easier, because Google can be slightly confusing. But generally you will have an ROI kind of tab, and you can just click on the ROI and see what it is. So for every dollar that you're spending, you will have a certain ROI. I think it differs from
ROI,
a return on investment. Yeah. I think it differs from business to business, and I don't want to say to someone, oh, you need to be aiming for a 5 or a 20 or whatever ROI. That kind of is up to you and your business goals that you're going to set. But you want to make sure that you're actually getting a return of some kind, a return that you're comfortable with for the money that you spend on ads.
Explain a little bit about the return on investment levels. You said 3 or 5 or 20. What is a good return on investment? Explain exactly what that is.
I just can't say
a dollar back.
A dollar backs, yeah. So it's like, so say your return on investment is a 5. So it's like for every dollar you spend, you're bringing in $5. That is the return on investment. But I can't say to someone what is good to aim for, because it depends on your business. It depends how big you are. It depends on so many things and what you're comfortable with as a business.
What are you comfortable with?
I cannot tell my secrets. No,
20
I would
here.
want to see a
1 to
20. I would want to see a 20 to 1. Yeah, I would. But that doesn't mean that all ads are going to do that all the time either. Sometimes they perform well for a time, sometimes they drop off for a bit, sometimes they come back. But that's that monitoring, that's that making sure that your ad is always performing. If it's dropping, analyze why. You need to work out why, change it, test it. Testing is important.
Okay, so returning clients. This is a really big thing to talk about. Now, once again, depends on the size of your business, what you're running. Alicia made a good point before when we were chatting off air about if you've got a system, if you have a booking system, or if you have a Shopify, or if you have a SEMrush or a specific app, they all will do this calculation for you because it shows returning customer versus new customer. It has all that information. But if you're sort of doing it on your own, there are basic ways you can do it.
Yeah. And so a measurement of success in your business is seeing that you are having customers return and you're getting that repeat business in. It is so much more cost effective to your business to have a repeat customer than to be trying to find new customers all the time. So a measure of success is showing that you do have a higher percentage of returning customers, opposite, returning customers than new, because that's just a more efficient way to run your business. And it also shows that your clients are happy with your services as well. So you're sort of measuring client happiness in a way. The proof is in the pudding. If someone's coming back, they're not going to come back if they don't like you. So they must like you. And I think that that's a really good measure to your business.
And if they're not booking, and a really simple way to look at that, there are ways to formulate it. There are things that we can tell you to get a percentage of your returning client and everything else. But look back on your books. Like if you're writing in a book and you haven't got a booking system, look back at names. Keep it really simple. Look back at how long that person hasn't been here for, why they haven't booked in, and maybe do a reach out.
You can do an Excel spreadsheet even if you want something simple and you've not got special systems in place, but it would be worth keeping track of all of your customers, because then you can market to them if they've been to you previously, if they have dropped off. And it is important to measure if anyone is dropping off. But you could put them in a Excel spreadsheet, put their name, their phone number, their contact details, and are they current customer? Are they past? How many visits have they had? And you can use that spreadsheet and actually just filter in an Excel spreadsheet quite easily and see these are all new. These people all came in for one service and then never came back. Like, what's going on with that? I need to reach out to those people. I need to find out what's going on. So,
and also another really good thing that you just picked in my mind then, if there's a service that people aren't coming back for, if it's a particular service, so if it's 6 weeks ago that customer hasn't come back and that client hasn't come back, and it's a continual pattern that it's your classics or it's your treatment you're doing for a certain lash style, maybe look at doing some training. Maybe have a look at the results that you're giving. Maybe ask another lash artist to come and have a look at your work. I don't know, maybe that's something specific to that service. If it's the one service that's, once again, going back to your data, that people aren't returning for. Maybe it's something that you need to work on yourself.
yeah. And you just clicked something in my mind.
Clicking day.
What if your service isn't worth your time? Have a look at your services. Say you're doing a service that you're not charging much for, but you have to spend a long time on. I'm just trying to think of an example. Maybe it's a lash lift, because they can take a while. They can take like 50 minutes if you're processing and then doing a tint and things like that afterwards. And if psychologically you feel like you can't charge as much for a lash lift as lash extensions, and you're charging a little bit and basically taking up a lash extension appointment with that service, is it worth you still doing that service? Like, measure your services and see I'm going to go back to return on investment, but see what it's the return on investment on your time, really. Like, per hour, you should be able to say, I could earn a certain amount of money per hour. And if there's one service that's dragging down that per hour rate,
Get rid of it.
think about getting rid of it. Yeah.
Get rid of it. Well, really good point there. Really, really good point. And also, when you're looking back at your data from last week, it does, as we've said, you don't need to have lots and lots of data. But when you're looking back at your data and you say, "Oh, that was a really slow day. I only took $1,000, and then I took 2,000 the next day," have a look at what you did that day, because it mightn't be that it was a slow day. You might have been really busy on that $1,000 day, and once again, and your return on investment's not there. So that's how another way you can look at the service and if it's value for money is actually have a look at your takings and have a look at your day. You might take $2,000 with 3 appointments and then take $1,000 with 5 appointments. So that's a really simple way of looking what you just said about the servicing is return on investment with each client.
Measure your services.
Okay, so another way to measure the success of your lash business is, actually, before I get into that, I've got a story.
Oh,
So this will lead into the next, what we're talking about, which is your staff performance and employee performance. I used to work for a company called Rip Curl, and I used to have about 1,000 retail staff. And one of the things that happened all the time was having to train them. New products coming in, working with them on new products. So we had continual training sessions with our employees. But I used to be fascinated with the different level of personalities that you used to deal with and who I'd click with personally. So my team of nearly 1,000 people were like mini me's. I didn't mean it to happen like that, but I sort of was attracted to hiring people that were like, "Hey, how you going? What's going on?" and everything. So this is leading into what I'm going to say now is we had a fabulous team at Rip Curl. Not that I'm saying I'm fabulous, I didn't mean it like that, but an outgoing team that were, so going to staff performances in lash salons, which is something that you're very, very attuned to, making sure that your personality comes out in your staff, making sure that the staff you choose for your salon reflect you as a person, reflect your brand, and reflect how you want your customer to feel. It's so important. So we had this name at Rip Curl that was like, all the crazy staff at Rip Curl, but they were fantastic. We love going into Rip Curl because your staff are crazy. That was what Rip Curl was, but I know lash salons are a little bit different. You can't be quite as crazy. But choosing your staff carefully, if you have staff, choosing your staff from the start, from the interview process right through to putting them on the floor doing lashes, it's really important that they reflect what you want them to say about your business.
I could not agree more. I mean, if you have someone that's not going to click with you, they are trouble. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have trouble with them, because if you don't have the same values, even possibly similar personalities, if I'm kind of quieter, reserved, I like my salon space to be calm, I like everyone to feel relaxed in it. No offense to the Rip Curl team, they sound awesome, but not appropriate for my salon. If not to say that I didn't have bubbly or friendly staff, which we did, but we didn't have anyone who was wanting to like pump up the music and dance at the reception desk, because that wasn't the vibe.
I wouldn't have got it at your salon.
You just were, you were excitable. It's good. It's great for some situations, not for our salon as it was. And also just personality wise, if you are getting vibes with someone at the start, go with your gut, because I think the people that caused me the most problems, every time I look back, I thought, I knew they would have been a problem and I should have listened to myself in the first place.
Yeah, it's really important. So don't just judge your staff on their performance, judge your staff on what your clients say as well. So it's really important that you ask your clients yourself about, feedback from, how did Alicia go today? Were you happy with the service? You don't have to do it in front of Alicia, and it can be something you might do once or twice a month. Get in contact with a random customer and say, hey, how was your service the other day? Make an old-fashioned phone call or have an EDM or an email chain to them. Reach out to those clients for feedback about your staff, particularly if you think you've got problems with a staff member and something's not feeling quite right. Talk to your clients that have been to see that staff member, because they will walk away and maybe never say anything again, but never come back. And you don't know why.
Yeah. And while it's important for your customers, obviously, to be having a great experience, it's also important for you as someone who's running a salon to make sure that the staff that you have there are happy, and like you can measure the success of your business in your staff turnover. If your staff seem happy, express that they're happy, and the biggest measure that they are happy is that they're not leaving. If you have a low staff turnover and no one's ever leaving and you're not having to hire anyone new, that is a huge sign that you're doing something right in your business as a business manager. And be mindful that hiring is a costly and time-consuming process. So if
And
you
so is
can
losing a
hire the
customer.
right people, if you can hire the right people, keep them happy and not have to change staff and keep your clients happy because they have their same lash artist that they love every time, that's tick, tick, tick business success in my books.
And just not even the cost of hiring staff, but the amount of time you put into training them to reflect what you want them to reflect and to, fit into your salon.
Yep.
It's your time. So it's taking you off the tools to train again, and to put all that time into that. But this is an area that's really important to me, this staff training and employee happiness, because that is one of the biggest keys to the success in your salon if you have staff. Don't be ashamed if you need help with it either. So put your hand up. This is a stage where there's hundreds of coaches out there, hundreds of business people that you can get in contact with who are experts at this kind of thing. Go and do a session.
Yep.
Go and do a session on how to maintain staff. How do I train staff? How do I work with staff? How do I get that balance between leadership and friendship? It's a really big deal if you've got staff in your salon. So don't feel like you're the only person that struggles with this. We all struggle with this. I mean, we've got 7 or 8 people here in the office on any day. And I know I'm a bit of a room reader. I can tell when someone's either a little bit tired or a little bit, but I look out for it. It's probably one of my strengths is I look out for people's body language. I look out for how people come in and say hi. You can tell. But it's probably one of my strengths. I have lots of weaknesses, don't worry. But so if it's not your strength, go and find somebody that it is their strength. Go and do some training in it, because losing your staff is a really big deal. As you said, people like to go and see the same lash artist, but not just that, it's your time and your money and that return on investment that you keep on losing every time you have to retrain a staff member.
Yeah. If you have staff turnover, high staff turnover, that's a red flag. There is something wrong in your business.
Yeah. And mightn't be you personally, it just mightn't be your strength. You might be a fantastic lash artist with the best analytical setup and all these reports coming out, but you can't keep staff. So it's just an area of your business you need to work on. Everyone needs to work on areas in their business. And if that's not your strength, please go and talk to somebody, because it's very, very a KPI for the success of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name's Jodie, and I can't make my appointment today because the dog ate my homework.
You're going to have to pay a cancellation fee, my love.
Okay, big topic here.
Yeah, a key performance indicator or a measure that your business is successful or a way of measuring is that you don't have a lot of cancellations. Okay, and there are a lot of opinions and different ways at which people think that they can stop people from cancelling or not lose out. But and it's kind of up to you and your salon and what you choose to do. But you do want to put a strategy in play that is going to minimize cancellations or no-shows in your salon, because that is a waste of money. And if you're looking at your books and you're seeing all these cancellations on it, that is a measure that there is a problem that needs to be sorted out. So strategies to fix that.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Did you charge the people that
I did not.
showed?
I did not, which is controversial in the lash industry,
we
because
love
everyone must charge a cancellation fee. You must take a deposit and you must charge someone, even if their child is in hospital. Doesn't matter. It's all about your time. I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of a rant.
You are.
I don't love that. I do not love that at all. Like, a lot of people are hard and fast. Like, I don't care what the reason is. If you have cancelled, I am charging you. If you run a big salon with lots of lash artists, perhaps your only option, because you cannot be having sort of one-on-one client time and enforcing these values and policies yourself, you may have to have a policy in place that says if you don't cancel if you do cancel within 12 hours, then you will be charged a cancellation fee or have a policy. And I do think it is important to have policies, especially when you have employees. But I also think that people are humans and that you're a logical person and you can make decisions. I did not charge people, even if they cancelled a couple of times last minute. I had a 3 strikes policy. So I knew my clients, I did their lashes myself. When we worked in a big salon, we didn't pay a cancellation fee either. We did a 3 strikes policy there, and we had a booking system so we could see if they no-showed or cancelled last minute before. The first time we did it, we would say, please give us the notice. The second time they did it, we'd say, now you did cancel last minute, on this date. Again today, we are going to ask you that you please make sure you give us the right amount of notice, or we will have to charge you before your next appointment. If they did it a third time, it's fine. You can only book if you pay for your appointment before you book, because we're not sure if you're going to show up due to these dates. When I worked for myself, I could make these decisions on my own and I could change it from client to client. So I knew clients that genuinely, weren't purposely leaving at last minute to cancel, genuinely had something wrong. If they did it very rarely, I would have had people over the years that I saw them that had cancelled last minute 3 times, but it had been so few and far between each time. I could make that decision for myself. I just don't believe that you're so inflexible that you can't make a decision about something. Like if someone's kid's gone to hospital, are you seriously going to charge them a cancellation fee? That irks me.
Yeah, I understand. I actually don't like paying a deposit. I have to admit, I'm a client that doesn't like paying a deposit.
But would you pay a deposit if you had basically brought it upon yourself? Like if you hadn't shown up or not given notice a couple of times and they said, well, in order to book, you are going to have to pay a deposit because you didn't show up these times.
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd go back.
Well,
if I was a no-show for an appointment, I'd go to somewhere else. I'm not a person that cancels and then would go back. I would be embarrassed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I hate when people cancel. I shouldn't say that word, but I really dislike it when people cancel or they're late. I'm so funny about things like that. So if that happened to me, and it would be a reason for me cancelling. I would have a good reason, but I think I'd be embarrassed to go back. Yeah. So that's how much I'm affected by cancellations personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did have to last minute cancel an appointment recently because my daughter was sick, and I said to them, I'd actually already paid in advance because I'd booked on their online booking system and it makes you pay. And I said, I'm so sorry. It was literally like 20 minutes before the appointment. And I said, I'm so sorry. I've just been called. I am going to have to go pick up my daughter from school. She is not well. I understand this will forfeit my money that I've paid, and I'll rebook when I can. And, that's just an acknowledgement that I made as a customer. And not all customers are going to be like us.
Definitely not. Not all customers are going to be like us. But yeah, so I think what you're saying about having a policy, like if you've got a website, have it on your website. If you've got an office, a front section, have it in your front section. Have it at the call. We have a cancellation policy. Please be aware of it. Read it. It's on our website.
Yeah.
Or, if you're on socials, make sure it's on your socials. Make sure it's tagged somewhere. But there's certainly not, as you said, there's certainly no right or wrong with cancellations. But if you're clear about it, that will certainly help with your situation of cancellations.
Yeah. Sorry, we kind of went on a tangent because I got a bit ranty there. The point of talking about this was to say if you are getting a lot of cancellations, there is a problem. So yeah, like that is a measure of success in your business. Make sure that you're checking that in your systems. If people are cancelling all the time, put warning systems in place, put policies in place. You should have a policy in place already to try to mitigate that. But make sure that you're measuring that. Check it in your systems.
Yeah, because they're not the clients you want either. This might be the time. If you've got lots of cancellations, it might be the time to reassess your clientele, to have a look who your demographic is. We've talked about this quite often, not charging enough and not getting the clients that respect your services. Are you charging too little? Are you charging too much? It's a time to reflect. Cancellations are a time that there's something in the business that needs to be looked at.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think we've hammered cancellations.
Yeah. Do we have another? How else can we measure success in a lash business?
I suppose extra revenue or measuring success is quite obvious if you sell products in your store, if you have a retail area.
Yep.
This is a really easy revenue raiser for you, but there are some tips to getting the right products into your store. Not even just for their efficacy, not even just that they're the best products on the market, but that you're getting the best deals from suppliers. So a really important thing to look at is when you're buying a product, buying Prolong Lash, let's say that because I know it. You're buying Prolong Lash, one bottle's worth $24.95. If you buy 4, it's $17.50. If you buy a box of 30, you get them for $11.95. Let's just use that example. You've got to decide if you like that product enough to buy that box of 30. But if you think about it, if you buy one bottle and just put it on your shelf and sell it for the same amount, there's nothing in that for you. That's just sitting on your shelf. That is no revenue return. It's a great product, but you're not making money out of it. So think like a business person. Go the next step. Take the 4, make the extra margin, sell it in your store for $24.95, but you bought it for $17.50. It's $8. It mightn't sound like much, but 4 bottles at $8, that's a little bit of revenue extra for you. But when you start working out the margins, talk to your suppliers. Can I buy in bulk? Can I get a discount for first time buy? Do you have samples? I'd like to try your product. Do you have a range I can look at? But I'd like to put just 2 things in. Be selective with your supplier. Talk to them. We negotiate deals all the time. We're open to deals. All suppliers are open to deal. We want our products in your store. So look who offers you the best margin. Don't always look at a brand that you've heard of or you saw at a trade show, or don't come home from a conference with a bag full of stuff and say, I'm going to go with this brand. I really like the people behind ask them the hard questions. How much margin is it in it for me? Can I dilute the product and make my own label? Can I sell this product in the US? You're going to have to start to look into things now with brands. There's a lot of different brands out there that have come from places where you might be able to sell them in your store. So do your research with your suppliers so that retail area is generating real Fed income revenue, extra revenue.
I have a question for you. What would you consider to be measure of success when it comes to profitability? Like, what kind of a percentage would you say minimum aim for if you're reselling a product?
50% margin's my minimum. I always work off. If you buy something for $11, you should be able to sell it for $22. Measure of success is that you can make back what you paid for the product. That's personal.
Yep.
So for me as a company, I would like a company to sit at between 75 and 85% margin. So,
and would you say that is achievable kind of profit margin for lash products? From what you know of lash products, obviously
yes.
With Prolong Lash, it's an achievable margin because we know if you are a partner that you can easily make a 70% profit margin. But from what you know of lash products, do you think people can achieve that in their businesses?
I think the hardest part in the business is the tech product. I don't think there's much margin to be made selling the tech product, but then realistically, you're not going to be selling the tech product. You don't really want to encourage people buying tweezers and people buying your product, so that people buying the stuff that you apply the lashes with. So I believe in the lash industry there is actually a real it's very achievable to make that revenue out of your aftercare products, out of your stuff that you would actually retail in your store. But once again, make sure you're getting the right deals. Don't get caught up in how big they are. Don't get caught up in the color range. Don't get caught up in their reputation. Do your research on the figures. Look at the financials. Don't be caught up by a really fun personality that does headstands. Make sure that you're looking at the product for what it is going to make you. Obviously that it's good for your client. Obviously that it's certified. Obviously that it's a good brand as far as they take respect in the packaging. Anything about this, it's certified. All the things that you want it to be as well and tested, and we know all those things. But the profit, look at the profit. Look at how much you can pay for it. Screw them down. Am I allowed to say that? Negotiate. Screwdriver. You negotiate because it is very achievable. I probably personally know 5, 6 off the top of my head brands that you can get really good deals for and that you can resell in your store. Even if you've got a home salon, don't be scared to have a retail area.
Oh, yeah.
Because aftercare is a
Always.
must for lash extensions. So it's just an additional income for you. But with Prolong, with the 60 ml bottle that we sell, like the small one that you can dilute, the 100 ml bottle. Here at Prolong, we have the dilution process where you can actually dilute the concentrate and then sell the 5 bottles from a 100 ml bottle in your own in store. If you're a partner and you do buy 4 concentrate bottles or 10 concentrate bottles or a box of 30 concentrate bottles, the amount of money that you'll save and then turn those 5 bottles into, it's incredible. Like you can almost get up to around an 80% margin if you're really clever.
So your profit just keeps on growing.
Just keeps on growing. It's a no-brainer, the retail area. Just don't be lazy with it. Don't like the socials when you talked about marketing. Don't just let it sit there. Work it. Run promotions. Run educational nights. Have a launch of a new product. Get some clients talking about it on your socials. Ask for reviews about your aftercare range. Ask them to write reviews about the services you offer. But the aftercare range it should automatically be part of the service because you have to wash your lashes. So like Alicia you can tell this, but you used to tell people wash your lashes or die.
Yeah, I think it got into a bit of a dramatic joke, but I would be quite dramatic. But I'm serious. Like, I would tell people, if you don't wash your lashes, you will get infections. You will get lash mite infestations. Tick, my lash mite.
You've said it again.
Podcast goal. You can get blepharitis. You can get chronic eye issues. You can go blind from getting eye infections. And the joke is that I would tell people that they're going to die if they don't use Prolong Lash. But I would honestly say to people, like, if you leave things unchecked and your hygiene is really poor, it can lead to blindness. Yeah. You need to wash your lashes. And I tell you what, every one of my clients wash their lashes.
Yeah. So you're
I didn't
not
work for Prolong then.
No. Well, but whether it's Prolong or not Prolong, it doesn't matter. You're not doing your job as a lash artist if you're not selling aftercare and not selling it correctly and making the margin. So one of the key successes to your retail area, talk to suppliers, make sure you're getting good deals.
Yeah. And if you want to measure the profitability on that from your standpoint, you don't have to go with, like Jodie's goal is minimum 50% margin. And that's okay if that's not your goal, but to measure it, you need to set yourself a minimum and say, are every one of my retail items giving me at least whatever you decide, X profit margin? And if they're not, you need to take Jodie's advice to go and negotiate or find a product that does.
Yeah. And also, if you don't have that margin to play with, so if you set your goal at around 20% margin, and that's fine. It's just a nice little extra revenue, get you one extra holiday a year, all fantastic. But then you have no room to play with sales, or you have no room to get caught, to have a campaign around that. I always go that little bit higher as your goal, so that then if you have something in the salon, like spring carnivals coming up over here, or sporting events over in the States, or anything that's going on, and you want to throw a 10% in there, you're not losing too much margin.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's heavy. Like, oh, you're right there, flashing papers around.
Just taking notes.
That's heavy. That's really heavy. It's a lot to talk about, a lot to take in.
It is. So let's just recap a little bit to just get, if you're still with us, congratulations. But let's just recap, ways to measure the success of your lash business. We talked about how satisfied your clients are. You can check your reviews. How satisfied your staff are. Check your staff turnover.
Your data.
So important.
Start
data.
Monitoring your data. Start monitoring and analyzing what's going on with your day-to-day running of your store.
Your bookings, your sales, the profit margin of your services.
Products, getting good supplier deals, making sure you've got the right supplier deals.
Yeah, make the most of your tools. You'll have analytics tools in different things. If you're doing paid marketing, you have the tools there in the Meta Suite. You have the tools there on Google Analytics. If you're using a booking system, there will be analytics in that booking system, I'm sure. that tells you about who's your new clients, who's your return clients. Make sure that you're looking at this information and using it to better your business.
Yeah, just don't look at it and leave it sit there. Look at it, and if you need to ask questions, as we've said at the start, give us a call, send me an email. We can help you answer those questions, or there are people in your area that can help you answer those questions.
Yep.
Ask the questions, don't be shy.
And if this is all just too much for you, you can hire someone in your business to help you with this. There are business analysts and there are business specialists that this is their job, and they will be able to help you kick those goals in your business.
Yeah, and if you want to grow and if you want to be successful, you have to put some tools in place to get this going. Like if you're not doing at least half of what we talked about today, or if you're not aware of at least half of what we talked about, it's time to really have a look at your business and make some more money.
Yep, start today. And if you found this video helpful,
I hope you did.
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Please give us a thumbs up if you did, and feel free to share with any of your lash friends, especially if people are starting out their lash businesses. Start them off on the right foot. You know, have all of the resources in place when they start off so that they're not catching up later.
Exactly.
We always have fun little tidbits on our socials, business tips, lash tips. You can get onto our Aussie Lashwise podcast as well, where Jodie and I can talk in your ear all day in your pocket as you walk around town. So you have all these resources, and of course our blogs and resources on our website can be really helpful as well. So www.prolonglash.com and .au for Australia if you want to get more information.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, if you have any questions, comment below, and thank you
Yes.
for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Good luck. Make some money.